Morning, everybody. Welcome to my second ever YouTube channel. I just want to introduce myself again. My name is Marian. I just turned 68 years old this month, and I got inspired by other YouTube people, especially women that I've watched lately that are in their 60s, but also travel YouTubes and cooking YouTubes and how-to YouTubes. So I've been inspired by many other people, and I hope that in some ways I could inspire you. So I'm 68 years old. I was married for 29 years. It ended very suddenly and abruptly. And so I'm going to share some of my stories with you, and what my kind of title is, Stories, Treasures, and Tea. Today I'm going to start with treasures. So as I've said, and thank you for the people who have already watched me and made comments. Thank you for that. And as I've said that I like to go thrift shopping, I like to go to Facebook Marketplace. I've found many good deals there for sure. So I just want to share with you some of the treasures that I found recently that I've really liked. And the first one is this vase. I did a vase the last time. I guess I like vases, but it is black, but it has this kind of like a rose gold sparkle to it. And there's even like this blue purple sparkle to it, which I just love this vase. And I could think of many different ways that, you know, we could decorate with this. So that was my first find. I think that was like $5.99. And I go to different thrift stores and bazaars too. If it's church bazaar season, oftentimes you can get really good deals. So my next item that I wanted to show, which I got at a thrift shop, and it's this. I think the letters, I don't know if they're going to be backwards for you, but you can see it spells home. So I know you can find a lot of different letters like this in thrift shop. So that one was, I can't remember how much, but I know it was a good deal. That is another thing that you can decorate easily with and around. So that one I loved. The third one I got is, this one was from Facebook Marketplace. I love candles. Have to be really careful with candles. I used to work in an insurance office, and I know that candles can be a #1 cause for fires in the home and kitchen. So be very careful with candles because it is a real one. I loved the black glass, so pretty. And this one is a 2-wick candle. But the best thing is, it smells good. No, the best thing is it's soy, which I really like, because I feel like soy and beeswax are much healthier when we're, you know, letting those fumes go into our home and our air. So those are my treasures. I'm going to also talk about my tea, and at the end, I'll talk about my stories and share some of my stories with you. But the tea actually blends into my story because my daughter and I have a tea business. It has changed considerably over the COVID time. We started just before COVID, and we had a trailer, a vintage trailer. You will see it on our website if you go to that. We would take this trailer around to different markets and festivals, and we would sell tea and cookies. And my daughter bought this vintage trailer. It was quite a mess when she bought it, quite cheap. And her father gutted it, and we prettied it up, made it pretty. So we did that for a little while. And then when COVID came, we had to change. So what we did was we did proper afternoon tea in a box. And we would deliver those contactless to people. And that was quite successful during COVID because people were pleased to get delivery and something uplifting. And we had sandwiches, and my daughter, she baked scones and cookies, and we had quite fun with that too. But now it's, for the time being, it's mainly items for sale on our website, which I will show you some of those too. And you can go to our website, tiamo.ca, and I will link that at the bottom as well. So, but what I do have today is I have one of Heather's blended teas. And that's my daughter. She's a tea sommelier. And I have this beautiful black cup. The theme today is sort of black items because I do have a lot of black accessories that I like to decorate with. So that's why I chose this cup. And I have a black tea. You know, we have like green teas and white tea and fruit teas, which really aren't teas, they're tisane. But this one I love. Really good. That is Earl Grey fruit tea. Vanilla fruit Earl Grey tea. Something like that. But it's very nice. It's the Earl Grey, but with the vanilla. I like that. If you like vanilla. Not everybody does. I understand. So that is part of my story, which is our business. But I'm going to tell my personal story too, because I know that the end of a marriage can be very devastating, no matter what. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And my marriage ended after 29 years, and it ended very abruptly, out of the blue. And I remember I had an acquaintance that the same thing happened to. She had 3 little boys, and her husband just left. And I remember thinking in my judgmental mind at the time, she must have known something. She must have known there was troubles. I thought that. But then it happened to me. And it came from, in my mind, from out of the blue. I've learned different since then, but that's how I really felt. And I think what this does to us is it teaches us compassion. Because I knew people that were separated or divorced, and they would talk about, you know, they got divorced, and I thought, oh, that's too bad. But I didn't know how absolutely devastating it can be. And I think it doesn't matter what the situation, what your story, because everybody is different. I remember I read a book one time, and it talked about, I read this book after I separated. It talked about if you're the dumpy or the dumper. I hated that expression, but I was the dumpy. And I think, you know, one of the things that is a great idea, which I did, and it was like my lifesaver, was support. I went to a support group. It was in the area. It was through the Catholic Church, but you didn't have to be Catholic. Certainly not everybody was Catholic in that group. I think at the time there were 30 of us, 7 or 8 men, which I admired because it's not as easy for men to share their feelings, I think, a lot of times. So, but in that group of 30, there were so many different stories. There were dumpies and dumpers. There were people whose women whose husband left for a man. There were just some people, it was their third marriage, but it's still heartbreaking. So I think support is so important, whether that's with a group. And I remember at the time I thought, I don't think I'm a support group type person. And even my first night, I thought, this isn't for me. I am hurting too much. But before long, I went again and again. And before long, it was my lifesaver. And I made friends in that group that I am still very good friends with. And then a few years later, maybe 3 years later, I became a facilitator, because not that I'm a psychologist or a counselor. Well, I think we are all counselors to a degree if we have experienced something like this, because it's devastating. So the only thing I contributed was that I've been there and I understand your feelings, and listened, really, which is what other people did for me, which helped so much. So if you're going through that stress, that devastation of an end of a relationship, I've just remembered 3 do's. There's some don'ts, but I'm just going to concentrate on the do's. The first one is be kind to yourself. You might be blaming yourself. I blamed myself so much. Your self-esteem will be down, but be kind to yourself. Know that you will get through this. You will. So be kind to yourself in whatever ways you can. Number 2, journal. I've read in so many books, it's good to journal. Vent your feelings. You don't have to show that to anyone ever. I have always journaled, but the thing that I noticed when I was most devastated, I had a difficult time journaling. But for the most part, it is beneficial. And the third do is do something different. I remember that's what we did with my girls. The first Christmas, we did something different. We just went away for 3 days, did some shopping, went to a spa. It was beautiful. So I hope that I can help you through our comments and interchanging. And I hope that I'll see you again at the next video. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. Thank you. Bye.